Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, chapter 26 and verse 5. There be three things that my heart feareth, and for the fourth I was so afraid. The slander of a city, the gathering together of an unruly multitude, and the false accusation. All these are worse than death. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakadash, for blessing me with the spirit to do this lesson. So, you had spring break happen. I believe it was last week or, a week and a half ago or whatever. And it was just chaotic. You had it in Houston, Texas, and this one is in Daytona Beach, right? Where you had these, YNs and these YHs stand for young whores, or YWs, whatever you want to say, right? Where they would just buck wild. This is what 2/3 is going to do during the Great Awakening and during the Lord returning. They're going to be doing this. And they're going to be thrown into the frying pan and cooked. Because here it is, the gospel is out. The word is being preached. Right? You got brothers and sisters waking up daily, but yet you got these niggas just continuing to be niggas. And these are the type of jakes you can't talk to. You're not going to sway them out of their lifestyle. They're going to just continue to do what they want to do and what makes them feel good. They're going to want to continue to fulfill the lust of the flesh. Right? So I got two clips. Yahweh Shem Yahushua willing, the elect be edified. Because this is madness, man. Here it is, so-called 2026. World War III is on the rise, and you got niggas, just still at war with each other, not trying to grow up out of the mindset that they're in. These are complete products of single mother households, man. This is why I titled this video, Spring Break Demons Will Be Slaughtered by the Lord, man. So let's play it. I got two clips. Yahweh Shem Yahushua willing to elect be edified. Shalom.
Spring break chaos in Daytona Beach. 4 shootings in just 24 hours. This is video from one of those shootings Saturday night. It started as a fight, and then you heard those gunshots. One woman there was hit by a bullet. She was one of 3 people shot in those 4 shootings.
And we also saw this in Daytona this weekend, video of a crowd of people running for cover. And Fox 35's Chris Lindsay joins us live on the beach tonight. So Chris, despite what you see on social media, the sheriff says this stampede is not connected to one of those shootings, though.
Yes, when people were out here on the shore, they heard a couple of loud pops and they thought they were gunshots. The sheriff says they were actually from water bottles. He says people were crushing them, trying to cause havoc, making that noise, and that's why they took off.
The first week of spring break in Daytona Beach brought another huge unapproved party out on.
And look, it's mainly Jake, right? YNs and YWs. Right? Acting a fool, being demons. And that's why I read what I read in the beginning. Let's get it again. This is Sirach 26 and verse 5. It said, there be 3 things that my heart feareth, and for the fourth I was so afraid. The slander of a city. You got that going on where, certain cities now, got a tag on them saying, don't go here because of this. Don't deal with people in the city because of this and because they're that way, right? It says the gathering together of an unruly multitude, and this is what you're seeing on the screen. An unruly multitude, right? A bunch of beasts. It says, and a false accusation. All these are worse than death. And an unruly multitude is worse than death, man. Death is going to come out of that. But anybody in their right mind, if they see this type of crowd, would know not to be a part of this, to move as far away from this as you possibly can, man.
On the shore, Kristen Dorito says she pulled up to her timeshare to absolute chaos.
There was like women that didn't have tops on and string thongs, people standing in front of us, wouldn't let us move. My kids are all in the vehicle with us.
Minutes later, she watched from the balcony as people ran from what they thought were gunshots. But the Volusia County Sheriff says that noise turned out to be from busted water bottles.
It was absolutely scary, and I'm not easily offended or scared.
The weekend ended with over 80 arrests for open containers, underage drinking, marijuana, and in some cases, illegal guns.
We arrested people from Alabama, from Georgia, from North Carolina, from South Carolina, from Florida, you name it. Everybody was here.
In addition to that, there were a total of 4 shootings in the area on Saturday alone. 3 people were hit. 2 teens and a 59-year-old man. No suspects have been named and no arrests have been made yet.
We probably will not be coming back to Daytona because of this.
Despite the huge crowds, the sheriff says when it came to law enforcement, they were mostly respectful and peaceful, but he wants city leaders to work with him to take more action so it stays that way.
Hopefully the city.
Look at this, man. This is just somewhere you do not want to be, man. Because Jake is just out of control, man. The closer we get to the end, the worse Jake is, man. And you just got to leave him alone. Let him alone, like the Lord said. Let them alone. Right?
Will get in line with me, and we're going to declare that special event zone so then I could double that number with Daytona Beach, and we could really, really crack down.
Along with a heavier presence, the special event zones would bring stiffer penalties for broken rules.
And we reached out to the mayor of Daytona Beach. He says he was unaware of any efforts to enforce a special event zone ahead of this past weekend. Reporting live in Daytona Beach, Chris Lindsay, Fox 30.
Yeah, man. So they're gonna pretty much shut Jake down from having large gatherings and being at one place all together, man. And you know, Jake gonna say he gonna do whatever he want to do. Ain't nobody gonna stop him. But hey, man, this devil about to come down on you, Jakes, man. It's about to be a war in this country, inside and out, man. And y'all out here playing. This is second Ezra 7 and verse 19. It says, and he said unto me, there's no judge above the Most High Power, and none that have understanding above the highest. For there be many that perish in this life because they despise the law of the Most High that was set before them. And everybody knows about the Israelites. These young Jakes out here, everybody knows, man. The Israelites are everywhere in every city in America. And preaching the gospel throughout the 4 corners of the earth. Everybody got a phone. Everybody on social media. Everybody on YouTube. So everybody's come across Israelites and Israelite videos, man. So everybody knows what's being taught. Our people know what's being taught, man. So, you know, when you read John 5:22, it said, if I had not come, then they will have not known sin. But now they have no cloak for their sins, man, paraphrasing. So now you can't say you didn't know. Because the gospel is being preached. You heard it. You know what you need to be doing. But Jake, he's saying to hell with that. I'm having fun. I'm living my life. So the judgment follows. Verse 21. It says, for the Most High Power have given straight commandment to such as came, what they should do to live, even as they came, and what they should observe to avoid punishment, which was keep the law, man. Seek Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. That's what you ought to be doing. That's what you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans ought to be doing in these last days, man. We ain't got much time left. The ultimate judgment is about to come down on the earth, man. Right? The four archangels are about to be pulled from their posts to bring that total destruction on the four corners of the earth, man. Right? It says, nevertheless, they were not obedient unto them, but spake against him and imagined vain things. What's the vain things, man? That, they're not going to be touched. The Lord knows my heart. I'm a good person. Ain't nothing wrong with just having fun at the beach and turning up and just enjoying life. Ain't nothing wrong with it, but the Lord, he thinks differently, man. Right? Because you Israelites, you 2/3, you speak of the Most High with your lips. That's it, man. And works you don't know. Right? It says, and deceived themselves by their wicked deeds, and said of the Most High that he is not, and knew not his ways, but his law have they despised, and denied his covenants. In his statutes have they not been faithful, and have not performed his works. So you ain't do what the Lord told you to do, because you would rather do what Babylon told you to do. So you're going to die a Babylonian death. Right? It's as simple as that. So let's get this other clip I had here. Now, that one was in Daytona Beach. This is out of Houston. Right? Because our people are wild. Once they can fly somewhere where some nice weather and they can just be half naked and have loose sex and be a freak, hey, man, they own it, man. They on the first thing smoking. Not knowing that, hey, the Lord got judgments flowing around out here. And it's going to find them, man. So let's play this one.
They have a alert out. If you was in Houston on spring break this past week, you need to report immediately to your local health department, because Houston STD numbers are on the rise. They were on the rise before you got there, and they are definitely on the rise now. When you touch down in your home state, don't go home. If the clinic is closed, go to the emergency room. Tell them that you feel that you need to be tested for all diseases, especially HIV, AIDS, because the way y'all was just carrying on in Houston, and y'all know the numbers before you got there. Yeah. See, people are, I can't believe they were acting like that. I can't believe they were acting like that. The reason why they were acting like that, you got to think about who raising these people. See, the thing is, their mama was a whole age.
And that's true, man. Right? When you read Ezekiel 16:44, it says, as the mother, so is the daughter. Right? So this is where these kids, this is who raised these kids, man. Single mothers. And their mothers was wild. And their grandmothers was wild. So they ain't learned nothing. They ain't know how to be a light submissive woman, man. They didn't know how to be that, right? You know, so hey, this is what this produces. Single mother households. This is what it produces. Women 12, 13, 14 years old having loose sex, casual sex, having 100 bodies at 18, right? Just doing what you're doing, thinking that it's okay. But this is why the Lord put curses on our people. And they saying that, you know, which I heard from last year, that Houston was, when it comes to STDs, was skyrocketing, man. You know, and everybody knows they love Houston. They want to go to Houston. They want to, you know, Houston is off the hook, off the chain. Houston, Miami, right? The two major hotspots, right? For young YWs and YNs to go to freak off. But the Lord said, what? When you read Deuteronomy 28 and 15, it says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to observe and to do all his commandments and the statutes which I have commanded thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. And these curses, what's one of the curses? Let's jump to verse 21. Deuteronomy 28 and 21. It says, the Lord shall make a pestilence, right? What's pestilence? Diseases, right? Shall make a pestilence cleave unto thee until he have consumed thee from off the land, whether thou goest to possess it, man. So you was going to have diseases at record numbers because of your disobedience to the commandments of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, man. Right? So it's not hey, this is not too far-fetched to believe. You want to be wild and you want to be a goddamn demon, you're going to get judged. Simple as that, man.
They grandmama was a whole that age, man or woman. They great grandmama was a whole that age. And if you've been brought up talking about how your mama was hoeing at spring break and she wasn't even in school and she was going to spring break and she was hoeing on Freaknik, and then your grandma come behind her and they all talking about how they used to do, all you're going to have is a whole line of hoes.
Now, I don't know why people are acting so confused about how these young women are acting down Houston on spring break when they literally run around calling themselves young hoes. In the video that I'm referring to is a girl and her friend, a guy and his friend. I guess they all hook up. They're getting it in the car, two in the front, two in the back. The car shaking. People video recording and they ain't got a care in the world.
That's disgusting, man. That's disgusting. You can only imagine what came from that, man.
They already told you who and what they are. So I don't know where the confusion is coming from. Every video that I have seen from down Houston, they are walking around halfway naked, and they do that even when they're at home. So you already know what it is. These folks, like I said, they gonna be.
And what happens is that, you know, people who are the ones to say, oh, they can't believe that they were doing this. They supposed to conduct themselves better. They know what the hell is going on, man. They just playing dumb. So everybody think that they ain't a part of that lifestyle and they don't think like that. But they pretty much think like that, man. Right? This is what, you know, Babylon has birthed. Demons. Sexual demons. Murder demons. Right? Great demons. Every unclean and hateful bird is in Babylon the Great. Right? Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12 and verse 22. It says, wherefore, whereas thou dost chasten us, thou scourgest our enemies 1,000 times more, to the intent that when we judge, we should carefully think of thy goodness, and when we ourselves are judged, we should look for mercy. So the Lord, the same way, the Lord is judging us, He's gonna, even though we're being judged, the Lord is gonna judge our enemies 10 times more, right? So, this is pretty much a test to have us find our way back to the Heavenly Father. But what does it say? Verse 23. Wherefore, whereas men have lived dissolutely and unrighteously, thou hast tormented them with their own abominations. And one way to torment somebody is to have them catch something, a disease that they can't get rid of. That's a lifelong thing that's attached to them because of them living dissolutely and unrighteously, right? It says, wherefore, Salakia, for they went astray very far in the ways of error and held them for gods, which even among the beasts of their enemies were despised, being deceived as children of no understanding, man. All right, this is 2/3. It says, therefore unto them, as to children without the use of reason, yeah, you can't talk to them. Thou didst send a judgment to mock them. Right? Somebody you tell, listen, you shouldn't be out here doing what you're doing. It's not, you're going to, you're going to run into you're going nowhere fast. Right? It's not going to benefit you in the long run. And then somebody turn around and say, to hell with you. I don't care what you say. I'm young. I'm going to do my thing. I got all my energy. I got my youth and this and that. The Lord said what? He's going to send a judgment to mock them. So when they go to the clinic and they find out they got something they can't get rid of, and they start breaking down crying, wanting the whole world to fucking feel sorry for them, that's the judgment of the Heavenly Father, man. And we're going to laugh your ass to scorn, man. Right? Because if you want to be a demon and a dumb, ignorant person, then that's what you get. Right? That's what you get, man. So I got one more. We're going to shut it down.
Exactly who they are determined to be. They show you on the internet every single day. Young hoes eventually turn into old hoes unless they meet a simp, and then a simp will save them and, make them into a wife. And then they usually start getting in the church and all that other bullshit. But y'all already know how the game go. Come on, let's stop acting confused.
I was surprised that the young girls is hoes. I ain't surprised, because I was there when they grandmas and great-grandmas first got a hold of that crack cocaine. And they used to be known for a good plate of neck bones, and they came to be known for a good bone in their neck. That's how it went. But now some they don't say I'm lying. But what we do know is that there was an epidemic, so somebody was smoking crack. And we know there was a whole lot of crack babies, and crack babies don't come from no man. So say I'm lying all you want, but the fact of the matter is, the things your grandma would do for $20 was downright disgusting. Like I say, she was known for a plate of neck bones, and then she came to be known for a bone in her neck. And mouth was like that trap that the Ghostbusters have, just taking souls. And now the young guys, this family tradition now, you got generations of fixing their mouth like this. Hit the blunt, drink the bottle, hit the crack pipe. Make the money so you can hit the crack pipe. It's family tradition now. So everybody could try to play crazy. I ain't surprised. I know what you expect the babies of them crack whores was going to be doing. And that's what these is out here. Now, these the grandbabies and great-grandbabies of them crackheads. So I know when your grandma used to get dropped off at the dope house and she ain't had no money. And somehow she was in there 3 days getting high. And when she come out, she can't barely talk because her jaws is sore. Now you run in there and ask her that, because somebody was smoking it. Y'all ain't. I'm not saying y'all ain't gonna make feel no type of way about it. I know what was going down, and I know who grandma was doing what.
and I've seen that other Jake on another video, you know. But yeah, Eve, you being exposed right along with your zaddy, you know, Esau, Edom, man. Right? Both of y'all kingdoms is falling. Right? So let's get this last one. This 2 Ezra 16 and verse, we're going to start at 18. And it reads, I'm at 15, Salakia. 16 and 18, it says, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? This is Esdras asking, man, because we in those days, right? The last days, well, you see all of these things happening, all the things that I just read. It says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So all these things are going on in the world for signs and for whippings, so that you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, you Israelites will get it together, man. Get back on track as to what you need to do. Rethink yourself, right? So it says, behold, victuals shall be Salakia. Verse 20. It says, but for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor always be mindful of the scourges. Yeah, because that Babylonian spirit, that demonic spirit, that spirit of Antichrist is so heavy on our people in this country that they can't break away from it, man. So the only way they're going to be able to break away from it is death, right? The Lord got all these things going on in the earth, showing you, manifesting to you that the end is close. And y'all just playing, and y'all just playing, and you just playing, man. Right? The Lord said, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case, because what? It still seems like the world is still up and running. You know, if you're a person that does this every day and you can still go here and there, you think that, you know, everything is good. It ain't nothing affecting my life. That's how a lot of these Jakes, this is how they think, man. This is exactly how they think. It says, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth, the sword, famine, and great confusion, man. Because, you know, our people are confused to the point of no return, right? They can't get right. They think that everything is all good, man. But they're about to find out that death is right around the corner. So, you know, I'm going to leave it there. Yahweh Shem Yahushua willing, the elect was the Father. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rakakadash, for blessing me with the spirit to do this lesson. To the next lesson. Shalom.